Hello, I'm Karen, and in today's video I'm actually going to be sharing with you how to make the little hat and the wings for your fairy. And this is obviously my green one. So she is a little bell fairy, and it's I am a bell fairy, I'm 2 shades of green. Sorry, I love my little song that I wrote. Okay, so this is the fairy that we're working with. This is the orange fairy. You're going to need your 4mm crochet hook, because that's the hook that we've used all the way through. You're going to need your wide-eyed darning needle, and you're going to need some clear nail varnish for this one. Okay, I'm going to put that back up there so that don't get it in the way. And you're going to need the 2 colours that you actually created your fairy with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've decided that I'm going to start off with the darker orange and finish off with the pale to do a hat. So I'm going to make the hat first. So she's going to put her out of the way. She can sit and watch upside down. Actually, we could have 2 of them watching upside down. How cool is that? Makes the light go a bit weird. And people will think, oh, the video's upside down. Not really, I'm only teasing. Okay, so I always start off with a nice long thread, because I like to have that for sewing in, and you do need this for sewing in this time. Okay, this is to actually sew the hat to the head. So I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. I'm going to begin with my twist, and of this one we need to have a chain of 2, 1, 2, and we're going to work 6 single crochet. If you're in the US, it's double crochet if you're in the UK, mais serré if you're in France, and I forgot my piece of paper. I think it was a punto besso, punto besso or bezzo. So anyway, it's 1. That's in Italian, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now we're going to be doing 2 stitches. We're working the same stitch all the time. So it's 2 stitches in each stitch, so we need a total of 12. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Just need to pull my yarn. Now I'm going to I'm not moving my tail end on this one. So this one, now we need to do an increase again, so it's going to be 1, 1, 2, so we're going up to 18 like we did do when we was actually creating the head, because we need to fit the head. So it's 1, so I'm going up to 18, and my increase is on the 3 times table, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, excuse me, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And at this point here, I'm not going to pull the tail end tight, okay? I'm just letting you know that, because you need it for sewing in, so I'll show you in a minute. Excuse me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work into the back loop. So it's the 1 loop at the actual back of the stitch. So you've got your 2 loops there. We're going into the back one. I'm going to count again just to know, so that I know for myself I've got my 18 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oops daisy, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. And when you get to this point here, you can see where you've gone into the back loops, and you've got one loop left over there, and this is actually there because we're still going in a spiral, so it's slightly out. Now we need to do one more round of 18, so that's 1, 2 in this colour, that is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So now I need to get my other colour yarn that I'm using and leave myself a nice length of my tail for a tail end, and we're just literally going to work straight into the next stitch. Yes, this does also give you that little bit of a step with the join, but like I said, I'm just going to cut off this dark orange because I don't need that now. I know it does cause a step, and I know that you can actually do a joining technique where you actually don't see that kind of step, but this is one of those patterns, like I said, this is it's a forgiving pattern. You're making a fairy at the end of the day, and she doesn't mind if there's some slight imperfections, and it's barely visible, and it's only people will, if you're really critical of the crocheting with the joining techniques of colours, then yes, I can understand, especially when you're doing bold colours together and things, but this one, it's got all its own unique little quirks for this one. I didn't want it to be complicated. I didn't want to try and teach you how to do something new. I just wanted to show you how to make something with the skills that you've already got from actually watching all of the videos I've already made. Okay, so that's the end of that first round, and you can see it does cause that step. And now we need to go around one more time, just so that it's going to be evenly balanced, because when we did the worked in the back loops, that's what made it come down, and now I just want to have it looking, well, let's say it was purely to make it look more balanced as I was actually designing this, because when I first actually created my first fairy, I did and ah actually about putting hair on her, and I thought, well, loads of people do that, and I know how complicated it is and how hard work it is and how time consuming it is, and I decided I wanted a hat that matched the actual dress, so that they was all just nicely together, and that's just how it happened. So this is it. This is the little hat, and we have one more row to do when we finish this one, which is the same row, the same as the last row when we actually create the dress. So now we've got to the end of the round. Okay, so you can see that's where my little step is, and then all we're doing now is we're just going to just do slip stitch, chain one and slip stitch. And as I was trying to say in my last video where it actually cut out on me, this is where it actually causes the item, like on the dress, it caused it to kick out to get that the shape that's happened at the bottom. Because obviously if you look at your hat now, you can see half of it is coming out and the other half is just sort of down like that. So And I was saying as well that if you know the names of the stitches and you can say them in other countries, in other languages, I would appreciate it if it's shared. Because when I try to do a Google Translate, say if I just typed in single crochet into Google Translate and then I just changed the language over to Italian like I did, it doesn't give you the same terms as the Italians actually use. And it's the same with all of the languages that I've been trying to do. And so I end up having to try and sit and watch other people, and I don't understand a word that they're saying. All I can do is just see the stitch that they're using and say, oh, well, okay, then I know that that word there then means that stitch. But then I've noticed in their videos that they will say that single crochet is actually English when you mean into the stitch we've just been using there, when actually that's the actual American terms, because the slip stitch is actually a single crochet in the UK, but I know that some of them say that that's actually an English stitch, and so it's really confusing for doing translating. And well, like I said, I can speak a little bit of French, I can count a little bit in German, but they're things that I actually learned while I was at school, and I've never actually really pursued languages since then because it wasn't a it didn't feel like it was a passion that I wanted to do, so I didn't do it. And now I'm trying to learn things and I can't because well, I can, but from Google it's not working in the Google Translate properly. So I'm at the end of my round now, and that's my last stitch there, and it does cause it to come out a little bit, so all you do is just slip stitch into the next stitch just to neaten it off. You can actually slip stitch right into there as well to give it an even more different finish if you want to. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to cut off my tail end like that, pull that end through, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this tail end from the middle. If I can get everything right, 'cause I've got all those different tail ends. Catch hold of that one. Oopsie daisy, it's not caught it. I want to pull that one through the top and then pull it tight, because I'm going to use that to sew in. And then I'm going to get my needle, and the pale end, because that's the trim around the edge, I just sew that end in. So I'm going to actually show you it being sewn in because I know lots of you know how to sew in and everything else, but because I want to show you actually sewing it to the actual head and how I do it, I need to do these bits so it's all nice and tidy. And just come through there. Oops a daisy. So I want to really catch my yarn so that I'm trying to actually split the yarn as I'm coming through, just so that this stitch is going to be held nicely into place. Got that off there. And then because I've got my join in this, I like to tie it in a knot just so that I know that it's all nice and secure, so it's not going to come undone. So I've got a nice tight knot there, and a second knot, and then the other pale end, wrong end of the needle. I'll never thread it where there isn't a hole. And then I'm going to just tuck that into these stitches here. So I'm trying to split the yarn a bit just to make sure it doesn't want to come undone, and I'm going to leave that there. And then this thread here, I'm going to thread my needle, I'm going to poke it through so it's coming through the outside of the hat, same as the other one's already through. And I'm actually going to put this just against the head just to see and say, yep, this is definitely fitting, because you can put them more on the top if you want to, or I like to have mine sort of set back, and you push it on, make sure your head's inside before you sew it on. Okay, but I'm not actually going to sew it on right now, because I'm actually going to show you how to do the wings first, because I like to put the wings on first, make sure the hat is sitting in the right space against where the wings are. Okay, so she's just going to sit there back to front hiding and I'm going to use a darker colour yarn to create the wings. I hope you can see with this background what I'm doing. So I'm going to leave a tail end of about 1.5 hooks long. I'm going to do my twist. Oh, I got a squeak there, did you hear it? Chain 2. Now I'm going to do the half double crochet, and I've forgot my notes for this video, so I can't remember the name in all the languages. So that's 1 and 2. So it looks like that. I'm going to chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch. We're going to go into the top loop of the last half double crochet, so we're sort of coming back on ourselves. You're going to catch the yarn from this side, pull it through, and pull it through for that slip stitch. Yarn over to do another half double crochet. That's not gone very pointed, has it? It normally goes quite pointed. I'm going to undo it and start again. Maybe it's because I was doing it slow to show you. Chain 2, and we're going to do 2 half double crochet in the first chain. So that's 1 and 2. Chain 2, slip stitch into the top stitch there, pull that through. That's better. Half double crochet, chain 2. You can see that it's gone more pointed this time round because it didn't do it properly. I think it's just because I was trying to show you I was doing the stitch. Slip stitch back into the beginning. So you've made one of the wings. Now you're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to do the 2 half double crochet, and we're going to use this chain this time. So that's, we're making the same thing. So that's 1, 2, chain 2, slip stitch into the last half double crochet that was made, half double crochet, and chain 2, slip stitch into that chain that you were just making it into there. And now we're going to cut off the tail end of the yarn, pull this through, and then pull this end through this loop, through that hole that you've just been working with. So you have your little wings. Now I do know that other people like to put 4 wings on their fairies, so that they're actually, I'm just going to move the hat a minute. I'm going to turn my fairy upside down for this. I've got my wings, which I made them that way around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like I did with one of my hats on one of my other videos. I need to have the wings in the middle of a back. Sometimes you end up with 1 stitch here, and sometimes you'll end up with 2. It depends on how things have actually gone. And I'm actually going to let's just have a look where we're going to put them. Yep, I'm going to go underneath those 2 under there. So I want it central, so I'm going to go underneath 2 stitches as I go through, and then I'm going to get, you've got your tail ends, you've got 2 tail ends, so we're going to get the tail end from the left and pull that through to my right hand side. So both of my things are there. I'm going to turn around, and the stitch that one that I haven't run through, I'm going to put my hook through where I've already done my stitch, through there, catch hold of the other tail end and pull that through there. And so you can see that that's there, and then we're going to pull that nice and tight. We're going to do a knot, turn around, bring these tail ends down. I want to do another knot, so this is going to come, that's going to sit, if you can see what I'm doing, so that's going to end up tying at the top of the wings. That pulls it really nice and tight, and go back to the bottom of the wings and do a double knot. Okay, I'm going to lift up the wings, and I'm going to cut these tail ends so that they're really quite short, like that. So where I get the nail varnish, and this is a nice blob on there, and you want to put a really good blob, plenty of varnish on there, because you want these ends to stay stuck. Okay, you don't want them to be able to come undone. And then I just push that down a little bit. It still leaves the wings to be sticking out, it just will help them so they don't come off. Okay, so my fairies all have 2 wings, which is a little bit like angels, because angels only have 2 wings. Now then, where's my needle and everything is all in the hat. So now I know this is where I finish. So this is the actual bottom of the hat there. And to make sure it's on a head nicely first, get that tail end out of the way, put a head in. Okay, so I know it's comfortable, and by rights it should sit so that it's actually really not in the way of the wings. Okay, so because theoretically she's going to fly, she don't want a hat in the way, does she? Now what I'm going to do is, where you've got all your holes where you've done your stitches, you can see this little bits that come down. So I'm actually going to go, I'm going to try and follow that with this stitch. As this, move that out of the way, as this comes down, I want it to sit, and we're going to go in, poke it into a head, and we're going to come straight out near the top or somewhere else, it doesn't matter, but it'll come straight through. So we're going to gently pull that through. Don't pull this really tight, otherwise you're going to leave a terrible indent in your hat. And I know that this is actually, I'm going to go in again now. I'm going to go over a stitch. I'm going to come over and into a head, out through somewhere else. But it's gone, and I know I can feel it's gone in a head. Okay. And I know this is actually only a loose way of actually attaching the hat. But these weren't really intended for little children. I'm going to come into there. So I'm just going to pull that through, and I've only got a little bit of tail end left now, so I'm going to, that's going to come all the way through, and I'm actually going to cut this end off. There. What, I pulled that stitch tight, look, I need to pull that up, pull that back. There we go. So that's that bit done, cut that off. So it's one of those ones where it's, like I said, if it does end up being played with children and if the hat gets lost, if you've bought my pattern or if you sit and watch my videos, at least you'll be able to make a replacement one. Okay, and thread this end in. Now I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to actually go, I think I'm going to go there, and I can feel it's gone into the head, and I'm just going to come out. As long as it's in between the stitches, it doesn't matter. And then make sure that this doesn't pull it in too tight, but you just want to hide the stitch. Yeah, so it's looking nice and neat. The same again, into the head, up through a stitch somewhere. It doesn't matter. Everybody's stitching is going to be slightly different, which makes them all have their own unique little finish. I'm going to go in there, come through. Oh, I pulled that one a bit tight as well, be careful, Karen. There we go. And I think I can get one more stitch in. Careful not to pull that one tight. I've been saying don't pull it tight, and I've pulled it tight, I think, on every stitch. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut that off, and there we go. She is complete. Okay, so that's the orange Bell Fairy. I actually didn't know whether I'd have enough time, so I actually didn't sew the hat on the yellow one. So she's actually got a tail end sticking out there. But there's the yellow one, and we've got the green one, and this is one of the blue ones. Okay, so I do hope you like what I've done. I do hope you actually have a go and actually try and make your own fairy. And if you go and buy the pattern, then you'll see that the pattern isn't just for a fairy, because, as I said, my fairies like to play hide and seek. So I'm going to do 2 more videos now. One of them is going to be this song, and the second video is actually going to be a video of how they actually play hide and seek. And other than that, I'm not going to say anything else, because otherwise I'll spoil it. Okay, so thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate all of your comments, all of your feedback, all of your support. You make my day. Thanks, bye.